So life skills can provide them at least the basic remedies to survive in any situation. So I think these kind of things need to be worked upon, where student and parents need to combine together to get an ultimate result.
Hello everyone, I'm your host Seema Chodia and I bring to you another iconic figure from the world of Indian academia. They say multitasking is a female's trait, but it is not about the gender, it's about personality type. The personality we are talking with today is so adept at multitasking that made me sit up and wonder, she surely has some superpowers. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Kaushiki Sondhi, Principal, Holy Public School, Agra. Welcome to Great Principals, ma'am. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the great introduction. And I'm honored to be a part of a Great Principal today. And thank you for welcoming me today.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So let's begin a conversation by knowing where it all began. So once upon a time, a disillusioned student, you ventured on to become an educator and change that aspect that drives students away from learning. So I would like to know, ma'am, which incidents made you disillusioned as a student? And secondly, what are the measures you have taken as an educator to include life lessons during schooling years?
Definitely. As a student, I would say I was more concerned with the moral science subject. I was very much indulged into that subject, and my concern was lying on the human ethics and the moral values which should be implanted from the childhood in the student. And that study was provided till grade 7th, and after that, more focus was provided on other mathematics and all the STEM subjects which are more important for the competitive examination right now. So I was not happy with the education system which we are proceeding right now, because what exactly I feel is that when we are graduated and when we are doing our jobs and something like that, and when we are married and we have a family and we are more concerned and more occupied with these things, then actually the problems start, then the responsibility section start, and that segment require a lot of focus from our childhood memories and the part of development we have gathered all together from our childhood phase. So these things were much concern of my thought, and I wanted it to be provided as a section of development, depression management, and having some kind of remedial sections where if the person is suffering from any problems and any medical health issues, then he can cope with that situation. So these things were not provided in the school, and I was very much disappointed, and I was like always asking my parents, like, what if this happened, then which subject is going to help us? So that was my question to my parents, and they were like, oh, it is not going to happen, you are going so much. So I was a depressed child till 7th and 8th grade, I must say that. And things change when I used to take read Gita and other subjects. So that was an inspiration to me, to guide me through all the things which I needed to have at that certain age. So that was an disappointment from my side, from education section. And right now, as you have asked me that what inspirational, I think that only, right? What inspirational measures we are taking in the schools or places like that where we can cope with these situations. So I would say that right now I'm working in my school, which I'm honored, I can do that, which I'm allowed to do that, explore that section. So I'm doing one thing which I have opted from the Japanese criteria of teaching and education system, where they made the students watch the movies from the childhood, and these movies are more of a emotional concern areas of the human behavior, where other than anger, feelings like sadness, like loving and separation, and all these emotions are being taught from the childhood, then how you going to behave if certain kind of environment, external environment hit you at a certain age. So what are you going to do that and that certain point? So my concern was that, so in my school right now, what I'm doing, not regularly but monthly, I'm conducting one workshop where we are taking the movies from other areas of whether Hollywood, Bollywood, any other working area, and we are providing the children to with the pure notifications and pure development skills. We are telling them to how behave in certain kind of behavior attitude you are hit by external environment, then how you're going to do your stuff. So that one thing I'm doing, and I think that is coming in a very great manner, where we are intercommunicating with the students, and at the right time we are mingling with the students. We are able to know their different behaviors, and we are able to deliver their behaviors patterns to their parents at the large. And that is what happening now, the gap which the parents are, okay, my child is growing up, that's enough, I'm feeding him and he is growing, that's enough. No, you need a mental development at the same time. So this thing I am incorporating along with my studies. Sometimes parents are like, oh, why you are telling the movies and showing the movies, but when I'm telling them, and they are now within like 3 months they are seeing the difference in their behavior patterns. So now they are coming in front with this attitude, okay, they want to have these sections and these workshops and these kind of things. So that one thing I'm doing at my scale. And secondly, I am working on two models. One is S model and one is L model. First, I will tell you about the L model. So L model is about life skill, language skill, 3L model I call it: life skill, language skill, and look into skills. So when I say life skills, I would say it more of a concern, because we are not working on the voluntary and vocational education. We have totally forgotten it, and right now we are into totally competitive world. We are not teaching our students like what to do if they are not good in studies. What is the second option? They don't have any option right now. They can just go to the business, but if they don't have a business, then what is the other measure they are going to take? So life skills can provide them at least the basic remedies to survive in any situation. That we are doing. We are providing them handicraft things and the crafting and traditional way of living which our Indian traditions have. We are doing that stuff in our schools, like mehendi and all these skills. So this is just an example. I'm just telling you. Yeah, I would like to share the slides too. I have a lot of presentation, but I'm today. This is a more of a presentation on our face-to-face and virtual presentation. So I would go with that flow. And second is language skill, where we are working on different pattern and different languages. We are telling our students to talk in different languages, like Hindi language, that is for sure happening in the schools, English, Punjabi, Sanskrit. We are more focusing on Sanskrit, because Sanskrit is something which is student don't give it more value. It like 50 marks papers we are conducting it, but still it have more authentication. And if you are good in that, your mind anyhow work very in a manifest way. So my focus is on Sanskrit also, and yes, we are working on the German language also. I have started the German classes also. Some students are taking it, not adjusting right now. So it's happening on the scale. And secondly, look into scale is something where we are telling them the original world they are going to face after the school and what they are actually facing right now, the difference between the two. We are telling them to know about the old age homes, about the students who don't have the parents, about the families who are suffering from any medical issues. So we are telling these kind of people to visit our school and have a workshop kind of a thing with those students, and tell them that what measures and what thinking pattern they are carrying during their lifestyle, so that that is something for them that is actually happened. Like if they face in life that kind of situation, so that would be a second thing for them, not a new and a natural thing they are facing for the first time. So that one thing we are doing, we are going to provide them the look into skills also. That is for the L model. And the third one is the S model. in S model, we are working on this 3S right now. That is speech, sense, and survival. Where I talk about speech, there we focus on 3 things. It is all about focus, where we focus on the inner focus, outer focus, and other focus. When I say inner focus, we are working on the how you're delivering your things to other. Like when you're talking, like I'm talking to you right now. So what image I'm carrying for you in my mind? That is something focus, I need to focus in my inner side. Then the outer focus, like if I'm talking to you, that what image would be you carrying for me when I'm delivering you my speech? So my words should be very sharpened enough for the right way. Then the third thing is the outer focus. When I say outer focus, I'm talking about the external environment around me. Right. So you should be very much aware about the external environment, because maybe you are not harmed by your words, the other person's words, but by the external environment. So you should be very much good enough with your speech skills that we are doing with the students. And it's going on a very, very minute way right now, because students are like, what is this happening? They are not able to understand the, bifurcations and the diversifications which are happening, which would be happening if they carry it in the right way. So we are working on that module also. And the second is sense. When I say sense, it's a deeper term here. When we are born, right? So we are given more importance to the sensory development. The doctor first thing checked is are you able to smell? Are you able to hear? Are you able to see? Visualize things and all these things. So first thing is sensory development. But gradually as we grow up, what the doctor is nowhere. Now the teachers come and the parents come. So they provide us the textbooks and the intellectual books and tell us to read, learn, and do stuff and just get the hard skills and work around and come first in the class. It doesn't matter with them if your sensory development are happening or not. So gradually as we are developing, we are forgetting about all the sensory development. So we need to work on the sensory development also. So that one thing I'm doing here. I'm working on the sensory development from the kindergarten itself, because I think 7 is the age till that it required much more sensory development, like zipping, knotting your shoes, wearing the jackets, and being independent. That one thing I'm teaching in my school. Then the last thing is survival skills, where I'm telling them if you are not good enough in anything, okay, you are at the last, you are not able to do anything. All these stuff are not good enough for you. Then what you are going to do in your life? Have you any plan? So survival skill is about your planning. Like do carry one plan in your life. I'm not saying the plan is the ultimate answer to everything, but plan give you purpose, and purpose give you ultimate answers to every problem. So that is the thing, the plan, purpose, and the problem solution. You get the problem solution. So that one thing we are doing. So these are the models and the things we are carrying for the change enough society we can have in the life. That's it.
Wonderful, ma'am. I must appreciate both the models, the LNS models. They really are something which is very much required. But I think I really loved, and something which really touched my heart was the mental health awareness. We all need to focus on that, and that is something very much ignored. With the world changing fast pace into the virtual world, we barely have time. These days, everyone is busy in gadgets. We don't give time to children to talk, even to understand each other. So mental health awareness is something which is very much essential, very much required. Education is not only about the literacy, it is also about building a generation which is emotionally and mentally stable, which can face the harsh realities of life. So I really love that point, and I think each school should go ahead and practice on mental health awareness of children. So wonderfully explained by ma'am. This is certainly very much required. And these days, we see kids get, disheartened so easily. They're disappointed. My girlfriend has left me, and they're like, this life is just shackled. And I don't know, I really don't understand what kind of generation is coming up.
Exactly.
So it's a serious step that needs to be taken, and a wonderful initiative taken.
Even the parents are carrying certain kind of taboos, I must say. They are like, oh, my child is not coming first, or he is not scoring the same marks the neighborhood child is getting. So they are very much depressed. I tell you one incident here. the change happened to me. There was an incident that was very much close to my heart. I was teaching in when I was doing my B.Ed. That was the starting days. So I was teaching into very small kids, like kindergarten students. I was working with them. So one student was like, I didn't do my homework, and he was very true about it. Like, I didn't do it. So I was like shouting, like, how can't you do that? And what about your mother? I will call your mother. And like every teacher used to do. So he was like, ma'am, why are you shouting? He was very small, and he was like, so that was very much okay. That is not right way to behave. So I was like, I'm sorry for that. And then the things came into my mind that, okay, if he's telling me the right truth about that, he was not able to do it because he was not willing to do that. So now if I'm scolding him, so next time he will be not telling me the truth. So what we are doing, we are pressurizing the students or the child if he's coming and telling us the truth. The same is happening in the mental illness. Child give us signals. The person give us signals about his mental health. It's about us if we are catching it or not. So we should be very much aware. If the person is not able to explore himself and tell himself, then we should be able to explore that, yes, he needs some help. As a teacher, it's our journey, it's our requirement to get into that stuff and solve it. So as a principal, I think it's our first job to train the teachers to be well enough, to be good enough to perform in front of students as a mentor. And then comes the second thing, that is our hard skills. So first soft skill is required, and then hard skill is required. And the balance between both make you a great person. That's for sure.
Very rightly said, ma'am. When we see the signs at an early age, if we intervene, then the children doesn't go into the treatment stage. The remedy can be done at the initial stages itself. It's as simple as a bright student suddenly stops talking and he's sitting quietly in one corner, and at times we just ignore it. So very rightly said by ma'am, we all require this training, the teachers, the parents, and collectively we can build a force of very much emotionally stable students ahead, generation ahead. So wonderful thoughts here, ma'am. Going ahead in our discussion, as I mentioned in my introduction, that you are a multitasking women. So I would like to know from you, how can we learn to multitask at work? We women, we are so much focused on home, work, life.
Okay, so I will start with some example here. See, as a human, already we are multitasking. We are, the planet is round and we are walking on it. We are multitasking, right? We can't do. Can you walk on a round like ball or something? We can't. But still, we are doing it, right? The Earth is, the globe is round enough, and we are walking on it. So we are doing tasking, but that is in somewhere we are not doing it consciously. So what I need from my students or from my coming generation here is that you should be much conscious about your takes, your things, and your thoughts. If you're much aware about your things and thoughts and whatever action you are going to take, you are more proactive in your mind, then of course you can be a multitasking person. It doesn't require that you should be, clicking around your clock and okay, at that time I'm doing that, I'm multitasking. I can do these kind of stuff in 2 hours, I'm multitasking, yippee. No, that is not going to work for you. You can do it for 4 days, 6 days, 7 days. Ultimately, you're going to, shut down. So you should keep your computer very much aware about the thing that you are capable of doing that, but you are doing all this stuff in an unconscious mind. Just you need to make yourself remember about the thing that you should be conscious about your stuff. And if you are doing these things consciously, I'm telling you, for sure, you can carry out 5-6 events together in your mind and just randomly let them happen, and the purpose will come itself. And one more thing here, I wanted to quote that don't be goal oriented. What we are doing, we are getting into more of goal oriented. Okay, I want to achieve this in my life, and after achieving this, I don't have any. When I was doing B.Ed, my plan was to get into a teaching. Then after that, I was planning to get into a higher grades. Then my plan was to get into, principal job. So I was not getting the principal job because my teaching area was not much experienced in that way to get a principal job in the area I wanted to get. So at that time, I was like, oh my God, I need to do this. I need to do this. I will do this course and I will do this crash course and get into principalship and that on. And I will compromise these all things. But after getting this, I'm like, what the hell now? What to do? I don't have any plan in my life. So if you are goal oriented, you can't be multitasking. First of all, that I have learned from achieving my success. in my life. So don't be goal oriented, have purpose. Now what I have a purpose in life, okay, I'm going in morning in the school, so I have a purpose that going in the school, I need to do this activity, I need to do this in this class, I need to have these kind of things, initiative to need to be happen to this teacher, I have this kind of mindset. So I am doing multitasking at my area. I'm taking out this. So you can be a multitasking person if you have a purpose in life with a time management, that is proper time management. Yes, you can't be sleeping in the schools and ekdam say you are clicking, okay, now I have to do this. You can't be like a magic genie. So you need to be very much aware about your takes and your actions. And if you're doing it consciously, definitely you're going to mark somewhere your identity, your image and impression. That is for sure. That's
Rightly said by ma'am. Ma'am, life is not a race, that the goal is finish line, you achieve it and you're done. Life is an ongoing process and we all need to make it meaningful by having a purpose on it, as rightly said by ma'am. So follow that, be a purpose person and have time management, and we all can multitask. Going ahead in our conversation, ma'am, your list of awards is vast, There are so many awards and all different categories. But what grabs my attention is Dada Saheb, International Dada Saheb Phalke Film Foundation Award, which is like, out from the category of education. So could you tell us more about this award?
Definitely, I would like to throw light on this kind of awards. And this is not only the award that is outer from the section I'm working on. I have a lot of other awards. Recently, I'm not added to the list. Maybe I'm not I'm thak gayi hu. So I left it because people would be like, you are getting all the awards, why? So the thing is, this award was offered from the organization to me to carry out a personality development webisode for them. It was no plan to offer me and honor me with this beautiful award. But the thing was, when they called me, like I was okay, because I'm not charging anything for my webisodes, for the NGOs, charities I'm doing. I don't charge anything. I'm doing it free. So they called me to have a section of 45 minutes with the children and the stuff like that, so they get motivated. So that I did, and they provided me, they honored me with that award. So that was a surprise for me also on that day. OGP, I got something out of the way I'm doing my work. So that was an additional additional star to my profession. And one more thing I got recently from AIFT Noida, Sandeep Marwa ji, he provided the Change Maker Award to me. That was a big achievement, and Dr. Sarojini Naidu Award also. So that was an addition to the same category you are talking about. So these kind of awards are, these are the inspiration. You get charged for 6-5 days and you work to your limits. So yes, they give us booster. They are the booster dose to me, and I think anyone would be getting a booster from these kind of awards. So yes, they add to the personality, they add to your remarkable achievements. But at the end, the purpose should be there. If you are not carrying the purpose, these awards are just dignified things to show on the FB and Insta, to be true. So you need to have the purpose, and definitely you're going to have an endless and ultimate phenomenal life after that.
Right, keep doing the good work, and these kinds of awards are always going to follow. So yes, have a purpose. That is the most important thing in life. Going ahead in our conversation, ma'am, as you mentioned, just right now that you're involved with many NGO and you're involved in Innovative India, which is a project wherein you created a platform for various NGOs. So, ma'am, you focus on these social issues and free education. That is the main attraction of it. So who is your mentor here, ma'am? Whom do you look up for your inspiration and advice and support?
Okay, I was into a teaching profession, to be true. I don't have any plan to come into a public speaking skills and platforms. I used to have a very great mindset and very sharp analyzing on my things, but I was not good with my English. To be true, I was not good with my English. So I worked on it a lot. And I think that working allowed me to have exposure. And I think language is never a barrier, right? I must say that language, whenever, if you are planning to do something and language is coming in your way. So if you know how to communicate, you know how to deliver your speech and things to the person, ultimate decoding should be there. So if decoding is happening, ultimately you're getting your results. That's for sure. That's okay. So but yes, you need to be good with your words. So I work upon like come like 1,000 words or 2,000 words which I occupied and learn over the time. And okay, this means this, and tangling them and mingling them and making something out of it. So that helped me. And I don't know where the journey started and where I came right now, but the mentor who supported me, I would say my father. He was not he's not good with his English and the vocabulary, but he's very good with the Hindi vocabulary. So he used to tell me everything in Hindi and I used to translate it in English. So he used to tell me the life skills as I'm talking about, because they matter to me, because he have taught me that these things are the practical world which you are not looking into right now. That is a look into in your life when you're landing up into the real identity as a person. So this schooling, this graduation, college life, and hippie hip hop life, all these kind of things are to end up. And when the life journey start, and when you start to face the real world, then what? Do you have any plans for that? So we are working for the, I want to be engineer, I want to go into MBA, I want to do this stuff and that stuff. But what if history happened to you? So are you planned for that kind of stuff? Are you going to take this in a positive way or into a negative way? So all these things have been taught to me by as a great person and a personality by my father to me. So that was additional to me, and I think these things have incorporated and invalued in me through him also. So one thing is that, and another thing is that from childhood, as I told you, like after 7th grade, because the moral science was not provided to us, so I was more focused. Like my grandmother used to say, okay, you read Gita, that is a moral science for you. So these kind of holy books and great stuff were a mentor to me, because they provided me a great line of area to walk into and get into my path. And I have different plans in life. I was going into a chartered accountancy. I was into final year, and anyhow I landed into B.Ed and came into a MBA and did my MBA and came into teaching. I don't know what happened and everything, but yes, there is a destiny planned for you. You just need to work on it. So all these things happen. I also did Nadi astrology. That is something people value, some people understand, some people don't understand, but that is a very huge way of understanding the human life behavior. So Nadi astrology was another aspect which provided me as a how to behave as a person, because that provided me a great personality development awareness section in me. I must say that was a personality development mentor to me. So these kind of awareness, these kind of or cultural and traditional methodologies, they help me to come into this kind of professions.
Wonderful, ma'am. I truly agree. There are so many people, those who come up to me and daily says, Seema, how should we communicate? We have the language barrier. And as you rightly said, even I feel language is not a barrier. You just need to express yourself and express with heart. And that is what connects with people. Language definitely doesn't matter. Whichever language you're comfortable, just speak and speak with confidence and with your heart, and you're definitely going to touch so many lives. And when you rightly said, our culture is very diverse and very rich, I must say. All the answers are there. So we need to, redirect our children to read these great books.
Exactly. Even right now, you must be saying that, but truly right now in like 15-minute section in my school in the morning is like whatever culture background you are coming from, whether you are Mohammedan, whether you are, Christian, whether you are Hindu, any Buddhist, anything, you carrying your stuff with you. So just give 15 minutes to your holy things, the things you valued, and the peace, the mental peace, the space between the body and the mind, and just do meditation for that 15 minutes, whether do some or just read something good. If you look, okay, I'm not going to read any kind of this stuff, so just read good things or just learn new things about it. Don't consume unusual and or not wanted things which are required for the body. So I let my students consume only the things which are good for their body, for their mental health, and for their development and the growth. I don't let them consume. See, after school I can't stop them, but till they are in school I let them consume all the good stuff I can provide to them from any mode. Nowadays virtual world is more of a concern everywhere, computer and handy things are happening, but still verbally and the life examples of the teachers, of my life, the teacher's life, we discuss them with them. Okay, this happened, like, we had this journey, we did that, and then this happened. We were thinking about that, and this, that life, and that happened. So anything can happen. So you should be open about the opportunities, open about the things which can happen, and you should be able to create opportunities. That is the ultimate answer, that you should be able to create the opportunities. If you have that ability, I think nothing is required. You can't just wait for something or some person. You are independent, you can do your stuff yourself. That is what we are doing right now.
Absolutely, ma'am. And this is the world wherein there are n number of opportunities just waiting for you to come and grab it. And you rightly said, the world is moving fast and you can create as many opportunities as you want. So just get up and get moving. And the 15-minute practice, I think that is an act of mindfulness. When you start doing that, you automatically attain the peace which is very much required. So on this wonderful note of mindfulness, we reach to an amazing section which is called rapid fire round. Ma'am, you have to answer in one word or maximum a statement.
Okay.
So here goes the first question. You spend your recreational time indulging in activities like, what are your hobbies?
Crafting, art.
All right. Who is your favorite celebrity?
Okay, now that is a tough one because there are many, but I like Sushant Singh. I really liked him. So Sushant Singh.
Tea or coffee? Your good morning beverages?
Tea, definitely tea. I can't live without tea.
All right. Agra is famous for many things. Name 3 your favorite local dishes.
Okay, I'm very much homely person to be outside. I go to school and just jump to my bed. Nothing else I'm going to do. Otherwise, gym. So gym, of course, I go to gym sometimes. And yes, in Sadar. Sadar is a market that is very famous for everything, tourist place. And okay, Taj Mahal I can say or not. I think Taj Mahal we can say. But one can view Taj Mahal from my terrace. So that's a good view. Again, so the thing would be, I must say the bhel puri wala, the pani puri wala person. I stand and have my
Agra is famous for chaats.
Yeah, that is for sure. It is famous for all the charts and Indian traditional ethnic foods. We are love to have that crispy foods.
And we have heard of that Agra ka petha, the sweet dish.
I didn't get you, ma'am. Again, please. I didn't get you.
We have heard of Agra ka petha, something which is
Agra ka petha is very famous. Agra ka petha, but I don't like it. I just like one flavor, that is the chocolate flavor. Otherwise, pan flavor, chocolate flavor, ye flavor, wo flavor, every flavor, we have so many flavors, but I love only the chocolate flavor, that too small amount of, but it's really amazing to have a taste of that. Whenever someone is visiting, we have petha on our head.
All right, so it's a famous sweet dish from Agra. So the last question in this section, seashores, mountains, or rustic countryside, your ideal vacation destination would be?
Mountains, of course. I love cold places, mountains.
Great. So ma'am is a mountain person. So this brings me to the last question of the show, which is called Viewer's Choice Question. And our viewers has picked up many questions, and this one is for you. Today's schooling is getting a little fancier, with everyone talking about non-academic things like, teaching life skills and extracurricular activities, bringing in the international curriculum. So how do schools help teachers to understand and assist students to develop a robust personality? Okay.
Okay, I worked on this part also. So to have a great personality and persona of a person, I think, first of all, as a student, it's our responsibility to see the personality of a student, right? But personality of a student varied, as our fingers are not same in our hand. Every student is also different. Every person is also different in the behavior patterns, in the looking patterns, in wearing patterns, in liking and everything. So similarly, so we should know that some child can be impulsive, he can be introvert, he can be extrovert, he can be judgmental or something like that. Similarly, but here we are not talking about the individual student, we are talking about the parent also. When we are talking about the development of as a person, of a child, as a teacher should work upon. So we are talking about the parents also, because 90% of time they are spending with the parents. They are coming for limited time to the school. Teachers can work on the personality for time period, and after that they are again open to the new opportunities, new things, exposure which the parents can offer to them. So now we need to know the personality of the parents also. Some parents are like, I call them helicopter parents. Helicopter parents means they are always visualizing what I'm doing. Okay, what principal ma'am is doing, what message is coming from school. Okay, my child had the lunch or not. Okay, he is not eating properly. Is there any problem? These kind of mindsets of parents we deal with. Some parents are very easy going. Okay, hoga to hoga, nahi hoga to it's okay. Some parents are like, little concerned. Sometimes they are overprotective. Sometimes they are like, okay. So these kind of different kind of personalities we are encountering when we are talking, we are taking the PTMs also. So at that time we see that different kind of parents are there, and every child have different pattern of behavior. So now matching these two kind of personality, one is parent personality, one is student personality. Teacher need to work upon both. Teacher can't just work upon one and give the ultimate result that I have made him a great personality now, and he can just go and do his stuff right now again, because he is communicating with this person also. So now we need to work on the three triangles where the parent, student, and the teacher, they are interacting. That is called family engagement. So this is one of a study which is going on in US, Harvard University also. I studied about it, and I have applied little bit of the things which I am capable to implant in my school. So what I'm doing right now, I am taking the PTMs where I am taking the PTMs of 5 children. I'm not taking the whole classroom. 50 students are coming and we are having the PTM. Okay, now report card are given and now go to your classes and schools and house. Not we're doing that. We are allowing the 5 parents to come, and that is on Saturdays we are doing that, where you have to come with your both parents. If you don't have both parents, you are any problem, you can come with the parental or the guardian taking care of you, and you are coming with that person, and we are interacting with them. Okay, now after going to school, home, what he do, what then how you deal with that, how you make him do his homework, or what if you punish him, how you punish him. These kind of vocal advertisements are going on with the teacher and the parent and the student sitting in front of it. And after the parent we leave, the next day the student is again asked, are all the questions valid? Is there any manipulation done, or are all the questions have been answered in the proper way as they should be? So there is a rectification section also, that if things need to modify, if parents sometimes saying something else in front of a teacher just to present himself into a better behavior patterns. So sometimes we encounter that students is like, no, mama is not behaving in that way, because till 8th standard student is very much close to the teachers. They so these kind of bond need to be there, that and yes, we are also planning to have a surprise visit to the student home with a little bit of ultimate reminder that this is going to happen, and we can go to a surprise visit to any person, your child home, where teacher can visit them, so that if the child is coming from which background, we are dealing with which kind of student here. The ultimate question is, we are dealing with which kind of mindset. Every student, we can't say coming from a happy family. Some student may be facing some problem, maybe parental dispute or something like that, or maybe some other financial crisis. Maybe he's not capable to come to school, but he's coping with the situation. Because in COVID, we have seen that was very much tough for the parents to cope with the fees. So these things we are doing, and we have a plan in the coming, because right now there is a little bit limitations with the dengue and the COVID pandemic. But in the coming years, I have planned to do these activities so that there is a ultimate clear vision of what we are dealing with, and then we can make the personality to groom into a perfect manner. Then we can be 100% sure that yes, we are delivering the right way and the right format which need to be worked upon. So these kind of things, I think they are taking much longer time to happen in India, because we are not much we are going, we are not very much going, yeah, I'm a teacher, I'm coming to your home for a tea. These things are very much awkward sometimes, but these need to be open up, because we are dealing with the most priority item of your life, that is your child. And how can we not be able to encounter you with these kind of questions? So we should be open about it. When even we are buying a chair or table at home, we are, testing, checking the prices 1,000 times, and after Amazon and all these things, and then coming to our ultimate decision, and then do we buy or not buy? So this is our child. So we need to be very much concerned about it. And I think when it comes to personality, it can't be groomed in a one way, or in just telling him and giving him a dose of dawai and medicine at school and telling him now you are groomed enough. So I think these kind of things need to be worked upon, where student and parents need to combine together to get an ultimate result.
Certainly, ma'am. A child's character and personality is very much shaped by his first family, the first circle, because those are the people who he observes daily, and that is what he takes in. And the teachers need to know the background from where the child is coming, so that they can guide them better. If there is something going on wrong on the family front, they can correct that first and then build the child. Because otherwise the exercise is completely way. A teacher is putting in effort, school is putting in effort, but child is not getting the same positive impact from the family also. So very rightly said by ma'am, the triangle needs to, all the three lines need to intersect. If they don't, then something we are missing out, and that is the student who is in the center of the triangle. So school, teacher, and parents all need to connect with each other and do the best for the child, and that is what is ultimate aim for all three of us. So wonderfully explained by ma'am how we can shape the personality of the child by keeping the family's perspective at the priority. So thank you so much, ma'am. It was definitely a wonderful session. We got a lot of input from you. And we at Great Principles really feel privileged to have an opportunity to talk to you.
Thank you. It's my honor to be a part. And I was, waiting from since so long to be called on this platform. I think I had a recent interaction with one of a person from the platform also. I was like, I am just willing to go into this platform, because to be a principal was my dream job. Now coming to this platform is again my dream job. So again, I had a goal orientation today. So I will be focusing more on a purpose today.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I really feel honored that this platform has such a great value for you. Thank you so much. And congratulations for all the good work that you're doing. We really need such kind of leadership.
Thank you so much. Thank you.